You can start.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alexandra. Welcome to the September 29th meeting of the CB6 Business Affairs and Licensing Committee. My name is Claire Brennan, and I am the chair of the committee. Tonight, we are joined by Assistant District Manager Brendan Berth and Community Associate Alex Crawford. As a reminder, New York State law now requires all community board members to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. If your camera is not on and your name not properly displayed, you cannot count towards quorum. Members of the public, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. We do not ever have anyone taking minutes tonight. So if you're able to, please raise your hand. Is anyone able to take minutes?
I'll do it, Claire. I just need to get a pad and pen.
Okay, Susan, thank you so much. Susan recently did them, so if you haven't filled out that form, please do. We will now take attendance by roll call. Okay, thank you, Susan, again. And I know you just did them recently, so appreciate it. So now we're going to take roll, and Alexandra is going to do that when you're ready.
Thanks. Committee members, I will call your name and you will unmute yourselves. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is quorum. Claire Brennan.
I'm here.
Paige Judge.
Here.
Anton Malner. Anton?
Here.
Okay. I got you. Seema Shah.
Present.
Susan Steinberg.
Present.
Jeannie D'Onofrio.
Present.
John Keller.
Present.
Kevin O'Keefe.
Present.
And Jason Littman.
Present.
We have quorum.
Great. Thank you. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and appears on the screen before you. If there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from the June 30th committee meeting were distributed ahead of time. If there's no objection, we will adopt these minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, you can object to these minutes by raising your hand through Zoom. Okay, I don't see any hands. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the June 30th committee meeting are adopted and will soon be available on the CB6 website. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. The chat function should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having, or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a committee member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself so you can speak. We are required by New York State law to have a transcript of the meeting, so please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Committee members, are required by the state open meeting law to have their Zoom cameras on and your first and last name displayed during tonight's entire meeting, from call of order to adjournment. If you must step away from your computer briefly, you are required to leave your camera on, please. Okay, so we will get started. First up on tonight's agenda is an application for an on-premises license for AP and SS Restaurant Group LLC, doing business as the Seafire Grill at 160 East 48th Street. Do we have representatives from the Seafire Grill here? Is there a representative from the Seafire Grill here? Alexandra, do you see the representative maybe in the attendees instead?
I don't see their name. There's one person calling in, but I'm not sure if that's them. And I don't see the client either.
Okay. So I guess we can move on to the next topic. Anton?
Is there a representative from the Buchanan or the Tenants Association?
I see that Jonathan Cooperstein, who's the president of the Tenants Association, is on as an attendee.
Okay. Anton, are you suggesting we get?
Well, I'm suggesting that we listen to what the president of the Tenants Association has to say, particularly with the use of the premises seem to be in contravention of the approvals we gave and the SLA gave, up to and including operating out of business hours that there was indicated, serving drinks on non-open days, serving drinks out of the area that was specified in the application. And I'd be interested to hear what the Tenant Association has to say.
Okay, yes, I agree. I think I'll go to Seema and Kevin, and then we'll pass it to Jonathan, who just became a panelist, so we'll have the ability to speak. Seema?
I was just gonna kind of echo the same thing that Anton said, and see if the phone number is that person, but if there's any way to send that person a message or unmute the person. I guess not to send a message. I don't think you can message a number, but I was just just to cross off all of the like T's or whatever. So
yes, so if the phone number is the representative, there's a way to raise your hand through Zoom. I'm not actually sure how to do that, but maybe they can try that. Do you know how to do that, Brendan or Alexandra? It's like some star number.
I forget whether it's *6 or *9 that is raising your hand. It's *9. *6 is to mute or unmute. *9 is raising your hand.
Okay, so hopefully they'll press *9 if it's them. Kevin?
Yes, I echo what you and Anton and Seema said, but we also should see, I believe there is another group that may be in opposition. I don't know if that group has a representative on as well. I'm not talking about the restaurant, but another group. I think, Brendan, you know who I'm talking about? Is that person on as well?
Are you talking about the Tenants Association?
No. There's a tenants association and there's an individual, a female, who is also in opposition to them, who has been very much of an outspoken activist about this issue.
As far as I'm aware, I don't think that person is on.
Okay, I just wanted to check and make sure that they're given the floor, or I would propose them having the floor if they're here. That's all. Thanks.
Okay. Jeannie?
Hi, everyone. There is somebody in the participants in the other room that has their hand raised, and I don't think that person that you're mentioning, that you mentioned, Kevin, is on.
Okay, so we'll get to Janet. Susan? Oh, you're on mute.
I was just wondering whether it was really right or fair to not have the client available to counter, any, or to participate in the discussion. Is that correct? I mean, is that a correct thing to do? Just asking.
Right. I was going to say that we could move on to the next agenda item and see if they show up later, but yeah. Alexandra, did they confirm that they were going to make it, or Brendan?
Yeah, I spoke with the lawyer earlier today to confirm they were number one on the agenda. So I'm not sure what happened, but I'll definitely keep an eye out to see if they join at some point.
Okay.
And I don't see any emails from the applicant or their lawyer. So no indications of last minute issues or anything of the sort.
Okay. And also Jonathan Cooperstein just left or had lost the ability to speak. I don't see him as a panelist, but Anton?
I suggest we table this till next meeting. If there's a problem that the lawyer couldn't show up, okay, we can excuse that. But it seems to me that it's relevant in that they seem not to be very interested in trying to say their case, given what they're doing right now in the with the Buchanan and with the way they've been running their business.
Yeah, and I think that actually they can't really be pushed to next month because their application is up sooner on that's right, Alexandra?
Yeah, the application expires on the 31st of October, which I believe is probably a couple days after this meeting. So we wouldn't be able to have a resolution until November. That's passed by full board.
Anton.
Can we give a temporary extension until, let's say, December?
I don't think the SLA really works like that. I think that, we can say that, but not require them to come back in December. Jeannie?
Well, if they're interested in extending or renewing their license, they've got to show some interest in doing that.
I agree. Jeannie?
Just because we're starting this meeting now, can we just table this until a little bit later in the meeting and then make a decision?
Yeah, we'll put it last on the agenda for now and see if they show up also. Thank you. So number 2 is new on-premise license for PDS Midtown NY LLC, doing business as Azabu at 125 East 39th Street. Is a representative.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Joe McClellan, counsel to PDS Midtown New York LLC. I'm here with the Vice President and General Manager, Mahmoud Abu Salam. We are a very experienced, my client's a very experienced operator, operating 25 restaurants throughout the world, 8 within the United States, having a current location in Tribeca. Their Miami venue currently has a Michelin star. The New York Tribeca location for 7 years had a Michelin star. We're applying for an on-premise liquor license to operate a omakase, authentic style Japanese food restaurant. The hours of operation will be 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Thursday through Saturday. They'll have pre-recorded background music. We'll comply and be good neighbors. Manager will be on site at all times, making themselves available to any neighbors or any inquiries. And we think it will be a great addition to the neighborhood. Happy to introduce Mahmoud just to give a little background on his experience and introduce himself to the community board and we can answer any questions you all may have.
Great, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Please, first and foremost, please pardon the mask. My dad had surgery and I'm in the hospital visiting him and it's required. So, anyway, thank you, Joe. My name is Mahmoud. I'm Vice President and General Manager of Plandu CE. We have operations in Japan, in Asia, and the United States. We currently have a restaurant in Tribeca, which has been there for 15 years and received 7 years in a row a Michelin star. It's called Azabu New York, or Sushi Azabu as it's known in the neighborhood. We also have another Azabu in Miami and a Mexican restaurant. The Azabu in Miami has an omakase counter that also just received the Michelin star. And we have operations in Hawaii as well and a hotel in Chicago. So our company is looking to add a restaurant here on this premises. It will be a Japanese concept, kaiseki, high-end kaiseki omakase, and a Japanese a la carte menu. Yeah, that's it. So we're looking forward to going into the Murray Hill neighborhood. We're super excited. And, we've been in the Tribeca community for a long time, like I said, 15 years. So we're looking to do the same in this neighborhood. Thank you.
Great, thank you both. And I wish the best to your dad after his surgery.
Yes,
Appreciate you all being here tonight. Your application seemed good. I appreciate what you said. The one thing I just noticed that you haven't reached out to your neighbors or like other residents, the people above you, and I would suggest doing that somehow, but I'll open it up to the committee otherwise. Kevin?
Yes, thanks, Claire. And that was my question too. I actually had 2 questions, was about getting the feedback from the neighbors and also because there are residences there. What are your plans for any music, live or otherwise?
So to answer each question at a time. So from a resident standpoint, the restaurant that was previously in there was Kajitsu, which is also Japanese style. And all the residents were very happy with that restaurant, but we will absolutely reach out to the restaurants, make sure they have Mahmoud or whoever's on site cell phone. Regarding music, it will be pre-recorded background music only.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Paige? You're on mute, Paige. Paige, you're on mute.
Just a little bit of history. That has been basically a Japanese but Asian restaurant for the last 35, 40 years. Different names. It's always been upscale. I've never heard, and I'm a member of Murray Hill Neighborhood Association. I've never heard of anybody ever complaining about that location. They've been very, very quiet, and they did have background music, in the past. So I think it's a great location that they picked, and I'm glad to see something's going back in there.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank
you.
Paige. That sounds good. Appreciate the background. Jeannie?
Hi, yes, just a quick question about the private parties, how they're gonna rent the space out. Do you have any idea, and that kind of usage?
Yeah, I'll let Mahmood answer, but when they do small private gatherings, the restaurant only holds up to 75 people, but I'll allow him to elaborate in further detail.
Yeah, the way we do private events is it could be a partial, what they call a partial buyout or a full buyout. And usually we prefer partial buyouts because we want to keep the reservations going for our guests. So it would be, there's two different dining rooms in the restaurant. There's one downstairs, one upstairs. More than likely it would be the upstairs dining room if I had to guess, and we would rent it out to that event. There would be no live bands. It'll be, again, background music. And we do these in a lot of our venues. So it's basically a group dining at the end of the day. So it would be no different, really, if you look at it that way. And if it's a full buyout and it's worth our while, we would announce that we're closing the restaurant on that evening for that buyout. And if they want to visit our other restaurant in Tribeca, they're more than welcome. And we would go about it that way. But again, it basically would be as if the restaurant was sold out for the evening with reservation, right? Same concept.
Okay, thank you, sir. May I ask one more question, Claire?
Yep.
Okay, are you planning any renovations to the space? I don't know how long it's been closed.
They actually just closed down on the 18th. And so right now they're closed. And yes, we are planning some renovations to the property. We have our designers looking at the space currently. Our goal is to try to reopen really in January. So we're currently looking at design and it's not going to be anything structural. It'll be basically very cosmetic, if you may. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? I do see Janet from the attendees has her hand up, but I think that's referring to what we were talking about earlier. But, oh yes, okay. So are there any motions or other questions?
Motion, no objection.
Second.
Wait, sorry, Brendan, are you saying something? Oh no, maybe you're talking. Sorry. Okay, so motion of no objection was seconded.
I'm sorry, who was that? Who said that?
John.
Oh, thank you.
Paige?
I second it.
Thank you. Okay. Now we can vote, but I think we just vote the way that we have in the past, that if you vote any way besides affirmatively to pass a resolution of no objection, raise your hand now through Zoom, or you can just unmute yourself and say something. Anton? Oh, you're on mute.
You're asking whether we object or whether we support?
Support.
Support, okay.
So yeah, if you
I
don't,
support.
right, if you don't support.
Brendan, I think you're talking, Brendan, but you're muted.
I think he's on a different call.
Oh, got it. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, Paige.
I for it.
Okay, yes. So if you're not for it, if you're not in favor, raise your hand now. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so it seems like it's unanimously for in favor. Alexandra, could you pull up the template?
Can you see it?
Yep, thank you so much. So this would be a resolution of no objection. It's you said Omakase, is that how you say that?
Correct.
Yes. Restaurant.
Oh, no. Nasa?
Is it
Is
an
it
S?
S?
Mhm,
S.
it's
Yeah.
a- Not
But
S.
Omakase or Japanese restaurant, either one will work.
Yeah, or Japanese restaurant, right?
Mhm. And just, can you confirm those operating hours that you're?
Sure.
requesting?
11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday through Wednesday, and
Mhm,
11 to 2 Thursday through Saturday.
Great. We could say, whereas the building has a history of hosting Asian inspired restaurants and no complaints, no community complaints, or, summary of what Paige said. The building has hosted Asian, sorry, not just
Asian
Asian inspired restaurants without complaints in the past or something like that. And then no members of the community has no objection.
If we could just add Omakase Japanese restaurants, just in case, because it's two styles, so that it'll be both within
No
this.
worries. Mhm,
Thank you.
mhm. Okay. So yes, that's great. And everyone was in favor. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you all very much. We look forward to hosting you all as well, and when we open.
Thank you all. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good luck, and we'll definitely be visiting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay. So we will, I was informed that the Seafire Grills representative is here, but since they weren't here at the start, we moved them to the end of the agenda. So we'll just keep on going forward with the third item. So it's a new on-premises license for Zuroto. I'm not having a good time pronouncing these tonight. Sorry. Ramen 33 Inc. doing business as Zuroto Ramen at 157 East 33rd Street. Is there a representative from this application? Mr. James? You're on mute, but you can unmute yourself and then walk us through your application. Did we lose him? Is there any way that we can unmute him from our end? Okay, I'm not really sure what to do.
Yeah, on our end, I think we can only ask them to unmute.
Okay. Are you able to do that, Alexandra?
I just did. Hello?
Hello? Oh, we can, hello? I think you're unmuted now. It seems like there are technical difficulties. Oh, now you're muted again. Okay, now you're unmuted. Hello? Hello, Can you walk us through your application? Okay. Did everyone look through the application on the committee? Are you? Hi, we can't hear you, so maybe
If
we'll.
yeah.
Oh,
Are they
are
able-
you a 718 phone number? Can you unmute that phone number that just joined?
You can unmute yourself.
Okay. So on the phone, press, what is it? #9. Hello?
It's
Um,
*6, by the way.
Oh, sorry, *6. If you press *6.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Yes.
Hi. Great. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I don't know what happened to the computer.
No worries. We
okay.
got you. Do you mind
Yeah,
just
okay.
telling us about your restaurant and walking us through your
Yes.
application?
Okay. So that one will be for the this location previously have the liquor license, and we apply for the new liquor license. The hour will be 11 to 12, 7 days a week. Background music only, and they do have the total is 58 seats. So the hour I just said will be 11 to 12. So we are here to glad to answer any question if you have.
Thank you so much. So you said it's a ramen restaurant?
Yes, right.
Great. Okay. I'm wondering if any committee members have questions. Or any motions.
Motion of no objection.
Thank you, Susan.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Jeannie. So we're just going to run through a resolution of no, if anyone, sorry, from the committee objects to this motion, please raise your hand through Zoom now. Okay, seeing no objections, we will, this resolution or this motion passes, and we'll pull up the resolution to write it out quickly now, if you don't mind, Alexandra. Thank you. So it's no objection. It's a ramen restaurant. And that was the timing that he just said. No committee stipulations. No objection. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so James, thank you for joining us. I'm glad we could hear you in the end, and the committee has passed this resolution, so we'll bring it to full board, but the office will be in touch. So thanks again. Glad we got you. Have a good night. Take care. All right, next up is a new on-premises license for Nina's Caterers, Inc., doing business as La Brochette at 340 Lexington Avenue. Is there a representative
Hi.
from Watershed? Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
Can you
do you
hear
want-
me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Mhm.
Yeah, my name is Jenny Du, and on the application, the company name called Michael Floyd Inc. to represent the client. I think the president, Nina Koyano, Nina.
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right, hi. Say hi to the members. Okay, the business called Nina's Caterers Inc. The do business as La Brochure. The La Brochure name is carried from the previous business. It's called the La Brochure Steakhouse. It's been there for about 8 years. So it's in 340 Lexington Avenue between Eastern 39 and East 40th Street. We are seeking for the same type of license, on-premises liquor license. So this is on the 2 floors, the first floor and the second floor. Totally, it's about the 27 to 29 table, about the 103 seats, and we have all the CFO, and we have a place of assembly, and we have a 1 full bar with the 3 chairs. The business hours from Monday to Thursday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Friday, 12 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Saturday, 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. We only played very soft recorded background music. We have no outdoor, no private event, no private parties. And the president, Nina, she's experienced. She will be managing this business on the premise all the times and make sure there's everything in good order. And they're going to keep the same method of operation as La Brochure. And we are here ready for the questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you both for being here. I guess, Nina, did you have anything to add, or we also have a few questions from our committee members, so.
No, that's all was good. That's what Jenny said.
Thank you very much. So Paige?
Is it still remaining a steakhouse?
Yes.
It's exact the same. The method operation, everything, it remains exact same.
Good, thank you.
Jeannie?
Confirm the hours for Friday, 12 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., not a.m. So it's only open for 2.5 hours.
Friday, because Friday is 12 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., only a few hours.
It's a kosher
Jewish
place.
holiday.
Before the Shabbos, we have to close down
Okay.
early, right? So we
Okay.
only serve lunch from 12 to 2.
Okay, great.
That's good to know. Thank you. Are there any other questions or motions?
Motion of no objection.
Thank you, Seema.
Second.
Second,
Okay, Anton, and thank you, Paige, too. Jeannie, did you have a question?
Yes, sir. Did you say you had a couple of questions, Claire?
No, you know what?
Okay.
It seemed pretty straightforward. Thank you. And you all asked good questions. So if anyone objects to the motion of no objection, please raise your hand through Zoom or speak up now. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so Alexandra, will you pull up the draft resolution? Thank you. So resolution of no objection. Thank you again, Jenny and Nina, for joining us. So
Thank you
it's
so much. Thank you.
yes, steakhouse and sushi restaurant. And could you just confirm that these hours, that's what you just said.
Yes.
Great. And then there weren't any committee stipulations or public comment. And there weren't really any comments for or against. So we as a committee have no objection to this application. And is everyone in favor? Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So we as a committee have passed or have passed this resolution, and it'll go to full board, and the office will be in touch later. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening. Good night, members. Thank you.
And we
Good night.
wish you the best. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay. So now we are moving back to our first item, because a representative from the Sea Fire Grill is here. And I see that they are calling in.
Yeah, so press *6 to unmute yourself on phone. I see they're calling in, so you need to press *6 to unmute yourself. *6.
Okay. So I'll give, as all establishments, I'll give you them the floor before opening it up to a wider discussion. And Brendan, while they're talking, or Alexandra, can you upgrade Jonathan Cooperstein to be a panelist?
Yeah, just to clarify, the person I'm promoting actually has a different username, Calvin Churchman, for technological reasons, but it will be, Jonathan is on. In the meantime, I don't know if the applicant's been able to unmute themselves. It's *6 to unmute yourself. I'm going to ask to unmute.
Mhm. Okay, I guess. While
There we go. Can you hear us?
yes, but we were actually asking for the representative from the establishment. Is that who's speaking right now?
No, this is Calvin. I have an apartment and I'm hosting Jonathan here. Can you hear me speaking?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So Jonathan, you're good to go.
You know what? Actually, sorry, I was gonna let the establishment speak first, and then I'll introduce you in 1 second.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. No problem. So I think that the establishment is obviously having technical difficulties as well, but I just want to remind committee members.
For the establishment, by the way, who's on the call, in order to unmute yourself, please press *6 to unmute yourself so that you can speak.
Okay. So
We're working on trying to resolve this on the back end.
no worries. I guess I'll just give some background. The Sea Fire Grill came to us not too long ago for an altercation of a license, and we resolved to support their application, but according to members of the residential building, have been witnessing some discrepancies in what they came and said before us, and what is happening in reality, including that they would only be using 20% of the courtyard space, and also not be open on Mondays. And we've since found out that they are using the full space. Yes, thank you for pulling this all up. They are using the full space, and they're also operating on Mondays. So we wanted to bring them in addition to representatives from the Tenants Association who are able to speak out loud now. So I think since we're still waiting on the representative from the Seafire Grill, maybe I'll hand it off to Calvin and Jonathan to share a little more details briefly, because again, the committee has been briefed.
Establish that I'm just letting you use my computer. Does that make sense?
You know, sorry, can you just hold on a second? I hear the Seafire Grill might be able to speak. Can you say something?
They're unmuted, it looks like.
They're unmuted, right?
Yeah, we're here. We are here. We're both here. We're listening to you, so we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. We were, did you want to say anything or just answer questions?
Well, well, why don't I give you an overview? This is James Wanderstock speaking from Sherry and O'Neill. We're the lawyers who handled their original application going back to August of 2012. So that means then they've been open now for 10 years. They operate, Seafire Grill operates one of the finest seafood restaurants in the city of New York, and it has maintained and even improved its restaurant operation during the pandemic with clientele from all over the world. They are rated among the top 50 restaurants in New York City. I believe they're number 34. And they do occupy approximately 25% of the courtyard space of the Buchanan Apartments. The entire restaurant is really a seasonal space because they are closed during the winter. So like for this past week, it's been cold, so nobody is outside. They're closed on Sundays, and for the outdoor space for the courtyard patio, they're also closed on Thursdays. So their hours of operation are limited to 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., with their last seating outdoors being at 9 p.m. So we filled out the CB6 questionnaire, and I want to reiterate that Buchanan residents, all of whom rent their apartments and do not own, to my knowledge, they are given an appropriate discount when they do come to the Seafire Grill. So this outdoor courtyard space has been a welcome amenity. It's been very well received by patrons when they have an opportunity to dine outside and the weather cooperates. So I'm here with Alex Begoli. He's the general manager here for the last 6+ years, and he can answer any specific question or concern that you may have. And I would say also, the Community Board 6 is one of the most respected boards that I've dealt with in the last 46 years. Okay, we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm gonna.
Okay.
I'll hand it off to Kevin as I think.
Thanks, Claire. This is more a question for you or the district office. Do we have any visuals so we can see more clearly what we're talking about?
In terms of the courtyard space?
Correct.
Yes, this is a Google satellite view, and for the record, the Seafire Grill is over here. They're a tenant of the Buchanan, and this is the building's courtyard. This area. It's a little bit grainy, but there it is.
Thank you. Helpful.
Can you put the little man in there so we can go in on Google? Drag that person. It's okay. Probably doesn't go there.
Yeah, one note I'll make is that, yeah, the little,
No.
the street view, it shows,
Right.
I guess, an entrance to the courtyard, but it doesn't show the courtyard itself. Hence the satellite view.
Mhm. Okay. Jeannie?
I drove by there on my way home this evening, and there's no signage to get into that courtyard from the street on 48. Or did I miss it?
You have to go through the restaurant, or you have to walk through the building, to the courtyard.
Okay, so you just can't go into the courtyard or off the street. You have to go through the restaurant.
No, you have to go through the restaurant. Yes.
Okay.
Kevin?
Yeah, hi, thanks again. Is this privately owned public space or purely private space?
We believe it's owned by the Buchanan Apartments, so it's really private space. And they're authorizing, and have for almost a full year now, they've authorized the Seafire Grill to operate this limited area, which is right next to the restaurant itself. It's on the Lexington Ave side, on the west side of the courtyard.
And you're maintaining that you only operate in that small section?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So are there any other questions for the establishment from the committee? Anton?
Yes, I'm a little confused because we've received paperwork from the Buchanan saying that the residents can order drinks in the courtyard from the restaurant and take these drinks and or food any part of the courtyard. It seems to me this is in contravention to the permission we gave about 20% use of the courtyard. And this is what the SLA had approved as well. So I need an answer for that. Why is the building management?
Anton, this is James Wandersack speaking. They must come through the restaurant to pick up any drink that they order, and they have to consume it, within the licensed premises. That's a basic rule.
Well, I'm going to quote from this letter. Order drinks and food from the bar menu while sitting anywhere in the courtyard area.
Huh? What?
Hello?
Yeah, this is news to me. I have not heard this before. The landlord has been very supportive of them, and I believe the landlord is aware that their space that he's authorizing them to use is limited to that 20%, which is on the western side of the courtyard. It's actually the northwestern side, right below 48th Street.
I hear what you're saying, but it's written differently in this letter from management. Anywhere in the courtyard is not 20%.
No, that doesn't make sense. Because they know they only have use of the 6 tables, 24 seats. That's what was approved, and that's what they have to stand by that agreement. And again, Anton, this is only a seasonal operation. So the wintertime, there's no service at all. And I told you before, there's no service on Sundays as well as Thursdays.
Apparently, we've received information from building residents that service in the courtyard is being done on Sundays and Thursdays, on non-authorized days.
No.
Am I incorrect?
That's not correct. We are not operating on Sundays at all. Just to clarify, we are closed on Sundays. That's absolutely not correct. Entire restaurant is closed. We are technically shut off on Sundays and Thursdays. You can see it right now. I always put my chairs at 3 o'clock because there is agreement between restaurant and the landlord that the tenants have happy hour, and they can use the entire space. And I'm be here about 60 hours a week, I can say, and there is no any intention to step on more serving food or alcohol or putting the Thursday tables, or Sundays we are not open at all. So we are clearly staying on the line.
And I would just add to that every night they bring in the tables and the chairs, so nothing stays out in their 20%.
I just want to clarify what I saw myself, that the tenants get delivered from the other restaurants to go from Grubhub and Uber Eats, and they use the space that belongs to tenants, and they drink wine and they had food. That's, I see the containers to go and all this stuff, but that's not served from our restaurants, definitely.
Has the Tenants Association contacted you and given you any situation where they said they're dissatisfied with the use of the space by the Seafire Grill?
Not for my knowledge, no.
And it's my understanding, Community Board 6, that there is a procedure. If any resident tenant has a problem, they go through their managing agent, but they're free to call Alex or come down to the restaurant or speak to him directly at any time, because he's here during almost all operational hours. And he has been here for over 6 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your questions, Anton, and the responses that we received, but I did want to hand it over to Calvin and Jonathan to see if they had any additional details to add or questions.
You should ask you if you're on.
Am I on? This is Jonathan Cooperstein.
Hi, Jonathan, we can hear you.
All right. My name is Jonathan Cooperstein, and I'm the president of the 160 East 48th Street Tenants Association, and I've lived here since 1954. Would you like me to address points that were raised just now first, or to explain what exactly, how the operation seems to be working right now?
You can start with the latter,
All right.
explaining your view of the situation.
You need to make it very clear that you're speaking for the association,
Yeah.
not for me. Can you please? do
Right,
that?
I'm speaking on behalf of the association, and Calvin Churchman has kindly let me use his computer.
Okay, thank you.
The building's chief feature is the courtyard around which it's built, and it has about 280 apartments, and it has been the courtyard for the exclusive use of the tenants since the building was built in 1929. It hasn't, converting it to a commercial purpose is a complete departure from what there was before. According to the resolution in the Community Board 6 board meeting of September 14th of last year, the approving of their application was based on their operating Tuesday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and in the 20% of the courtyard. And as they operate now, they don't really comply with any of those. First of all, I did hear that Mr. Vonderstock referred to 25% at the beginning, and I think that's more accurate.
20.
Hello?
Yeah,
Okay,
20%. 20.
Yeah, let's not interrupt each other.
Oh,
Thank
all
you.
right. Well, the thing is that there's a buffer zone inevitably around the area of the restaurant's tables and chairs, separating it from the rest of the courtyard, because tenants are simple, the waiter has to get around to serve, and the tenants are not going to sit down less than 10 feet from any table because it would just be socially awkward for both sides. When the restaurant shuts up at night, while they take in the tables and chairs, they leave their very large umbrella masts in position for the next day. And that renders that part of the courtyard unusable by the tenants the following morning. We've sent some photographs to the community board, and they show the Seafire Grill customers far outside the 20% area. There are some where they're just sitting at another table that's meant to be reserved for the use of the tenants. Or in one case, 3 of them have wandered over into the arcade that runs along one side of the courtyard and leads to the elevator banks for 60% of the apartments. And they're just standing there. And it's quite far. I mean, it's not even in the courtyard, it's in the arcade. There are also photographs showing the restaurant serving tables after 11 p.m., which is more than an hour after the 10 p.m. limit. And since Labor Day, even though the hours that specified are for Tuesday to that's the tenants, the restaurant's customers at another table. You can tell because they're wearing suits. Every Monday this month, they have set up the tables, and except for Labor Day, they served customers every day, although the resolution that the community board passed in September of last year specifically said just Tuesday through Saturday.
All right, well, we have to change from Monday.
So on the space and the hours and the days, they don't seem to be complying with the conditions that were laid down. There's also a security question, because inevitably as the manager said, it's a relatively attractive space, and it's a natural impulse if you find yourself in an attractive outdoor space to want to explore it. And there's no way for a waiter who is going back and forth into the kitchen to serve the customers to tell them no. So tenants routinely now find Seafire Grill customers wandering around the ground floor of the building, and they have no way to know if this is somebody who's innocently looking around or who's somebody who's reconnoitering the space. And it really converts the courtyard into something more or less akin to a public street, because there's no way that you can know what the intent of anybody you see is. And that makes a mockery of having any limitations on access, such as having doormen at either entrance.
Okay.
If you'll bear with me a second.
Is the entrance to the Seafire Grill separate than your lobby, though?
The entrance to the Seafire Grill is from the street. The entrance to the restaurant.
Yes.
And then
So you see people from the restaurant who you suspect are from the restaurant roaming around the ground floor of your building. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the photograph, I don't know if you showed that one, but the photograph that shows the 3 men in the arcade is a pretty good example. And I've heard anecdotally of other instances of that. Yes, that's the whole width of the arcade. And I believe that's on a Monday. when theoretically they're not operating according to the limits that the community board placed on them.
Yes, they use many times.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear that.
We are here, we are listening.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Jonathan. Does
I don't know if you want me to speak to any of the points that were made by the lawyer and manager.
I think that you did speak to them, but if there's anything.
Yes.
We're interested in being as cooperative as possible.
Yes.
And I think it's clear. I mean, maybe initially it was thought that they would be closed on a Monday, but now they've decided it's going to be Thursday. So they are open on Mondays, but not Thursday.
The management of the building asked to Thursday, we not open the courtyard for dinner because there is happy hour for tenants.
Well,
and we left the umbrella to be used for tenants when it was sunny. They asked to use umbrellas, and we did service. We did left open umbrellas so they can have a shade on the summertime. I want to respond to that question regarding to umbrellas. Second, we don't have a server that picks up food in the kitchen. The server stays outside with the helper, and the food runners brings from the kitchen the servers here. Thirdly, it's true that he might see 3 people, but those were tenants. Tenants, they have access from the building to come to the restaurant, and they can go back. So they're taking a shortcut, which is absolutely yes. We did create the membership cards for the tenants for the discount of 50% they qualify to our restaurant, and that's why we're processing them all the time. So there is no any access from our customers to the building, absolutely not. We keep people all the time outside, and we did observe multiple times. We told them that this is only 6 tablecloths. They belongs to us. It's like a spiel. When the customer got seated, if you need to use restroom facilities or inside, the tenants were very nice and they let us this space to use. They get that seated. They get that saying every time the people got seated in the courtyard. So as I can reiterate again, there is no Sundays. We don't operate at all. Since pandemic, we are closed. So we never use the courtyard on Sundays. Thursdays, exactly. Thursdays too. We shut down at 3:30. We usually have to do at 4 o'clock. Our lunchtime is over at 4, but I always make sure by 3:30, nobody's outside. And umbrellas, I gave them on the service for tenants to be used. Otherwise, I can put them inside, as I do tables and chairs always.
Well, I can say that the umbrellas were open and the tables were set with tablecloths, but not cutlery today for lunch, and there was no way to infer anything from that. It's not it doesn't, that simply by itself does not convey a message. The Thursday afternoon events that the building management held were discontinued after Labor Day, which is almost a month ago.
Okay.
As for those, the 3 men in the arcade, they sure don't. They look much more like customers of the restaurant than they do like tenants. I've never seen tenants of the building all wearing suits.
Well, I can tell you the names of the tenants with the suits they come to eat to us. It's Alex Kachadurian. He lives right here in the building for a year. Maybe you don't know him, but it's my duty because I've been here for 10 years and I do the door and I recognize all the customers. Secondly, I had an agreement with the management that we can use lunchtime on Thursday all the way till 4 o'clock. But if they ask for to remove earlier, I can do that too. And thirdly, also, I wanted to tell you that our kitchen shut down at 10 o'clock. So there is no way that we serve 11 o'clock people outdoors, as you reinstate that. I can also remind you that a lot of tenants, they order food from different restaurants and they got delivered from Uber Eats and Grubhub and all this stuff. So might be a misunderstanding between you, Mr. Jonathan, and the parties. They were here going on 11 o'clock on Saturday. I have some videos. There was a private parties from the tenants happening with the wines and dancing, and probably also had videos sent to the management how they smoking marijuana and cigars. So I possess those videos, and I did send to the management that nothing belongs to us. Was making sure, and we try to keep the courtyard our side pretty clean, and we do a maintenance. We wash them almost every day.
I don't think that the tenants
We're here.
You're breaking up.
And the rest of the very powerful.
Jonathan, you're actually breaking up, so I'm having a hard time hearing you. Is that the case with others? Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm going to send it over to John from the committee who has a question.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. Just, I'm a little confused. So how long has the restaurant been in this location?
It's
10 years. 10 years.
Excuse me?
2012.
Okay, so 10 years. And
Right.
has something changed? And I'm just trying to understand this from a common sense point of view. What's changed? Were there problems before or what?
Just in the last year, a little over a year ago, about a year ago, there was a major renovation of the courtyard. It's my understanding there's been a new owner for the last 3 years.
Okay,
that's
what I wanted to get to
which
next.
is absolutely, which is
What-
unique in New York City, to my knowledge. Go ahead.
What is your relationship? You have some sort of agreement. When you talk about management, you're talking about the owner of the building, correct?
Correct.
So you have some arrangement with the owner of the building.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so, and then the tenants association sounds like has some issues with how that's all working out right now, and it hasn't in the past.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what's driving this, because none of it, I mean, it doesn't make
Spoken directly to the restaurant.
I want to clarify that tenants association never spoken to me, or
Okay, that's
we
what I
never
was
got anything on it. Maybe the landlord is notified.
May we suggest that perhaps Jonathan Cooperstein come and speak directly to Fire Grill?
Yeah, I mean, it
don't
seems to me like people aren't talking to each other here. I mean, I don't live there. I haven't been there. I know the Buchanan. I've gone past it. I'm just puzzled by all of this. That's all. I'm wondering what's going on.
We're in the dark with you as much as you are.
I'm going to
really,
stop. I have nothing to add of substance beyond.
Easily
I don't know
resolved
what's going on.
if Mr. Cooperstein can communicate directly to the Seafire Grill. Come down, see the general manager who's been here over almost 10 years, and just see the operation firsthand.
And we can work together.
And our general manager, Alex Pagoli, will work with Jonathan Cooperstein. This would resolve everything. Okay, seeing is believing, I think, and he should come down. And of course, it's going to be closed for the winter, but he's free to come at any convenient time. And our client, Alex Pagoli, will make himself available for Jonathan Cooperstein. I think this would resolve any uncertainties. Okay?
Okay.
This is a top restaurant. This is maybe one of the top 10 seafood restaurants in the whole city of New York. It's known all over the world. They have clientele from everywhere. And the operation did change a year ago when the outdoor courtyard was modernized. And our client has worked steadfastly with the landlord, especially in the last 2 years. And there are no disagreements with the landlord and the manager. So this is all news to us. Thank
I
you.
wonder, do you have any contact information posted anywhere in the restaurant or in the courtyard? So, you know, an open dialogue could be facilitated or encouraged if any neighbors wanted to reach out directly to you all. I know the general manager, I'm sorry, I forget your name, but is there all the
Alex
time?
Pagos,
I
but we can
appreciate
certainly
that.
post them. And
Yeah,
he
that's
can give
something
his
that-
number, his email, whatever.
Right.
He's here. This is his life. He devotes his full time and services to effectively operating this restaurant, which is a gem in the city of New York. I've worked for restaurants for 46 years since I came to New York in 1976. And this is in the top 5 of all of the clients that we've ever had. We do work for the Carlisle, the Pierre, and other top operations, and this is right at the top. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see Susan has her hand up.
I was just curious, this is directed to the restaurant owners. I was just curious, what percentage, let's see, how shall I phrase this? What percentage does the courtyard business represent to your restaurant business during the seasons that it operates?
The proceeds from here. It's a valid question. Very, very small, under 10%.
I believe less than that.
Yeah, maybe 5%. Yeah. There's limited space. There are only 6 tables and 24 seats. And they're closed 2 full days a week, basically. And during the winter, they're closed. So, you know, once the temperature gets 65 or below, you don't have people sitting and dining outdoors.
Well,
There's no heater, so it's not covered.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I'm just throwing this out. If it's such a small percentage and the tenants are really having a conniption fit about it, would it be so terrible if you didn't do it?
No, this is an American who really appreciate it. And you should be aware that these are tenants who live in the Buchanan. They do not own their residence. They're tenants. If they find this so objectionable, why don't they find some other place to live? They don't own their apartments, to my knowledge. And our client has bent over backward to try to cooperate with the tenants. That's why they get a discount, you know, when they come here. Okay, and this has never been an issue before, you know, that we are aware of. Thank you.
Kevin?
Yeah.
I think, sorry, Calvin/Jonathan, you might need to like restart Zoom or something because we're hearing like a very pixelated, we can't really hear anything that you're saying, so.
Zoom out.
We can't hear you. I'm sorry. Kevin?
Yes, a couple things. Editorial aside, I think if you're a tenant of a building, it doesn't matter if you're renting or owner, you still have rights. I don't think that was a fair comment. If we can go on, I just want to make sure, Claire, you're aware that there are a number of comments from, it appears, tenants in the building, and they don't all seem to be.
Yeah. I'm going to get to those, but I want to talk, like, have the committee.
Thank you. That's
okay. You don't have a question for them yourself. I think I will. There are 2 people with their hands raised, so maybe if no other committee members have questions for the Seafire Grill, I'll ask Alexandra or Brendan to make the 2 people with their hands raised panelists. Someone in the question and answer says, as a tenant, I would like to see the Seafire Grill cease operations in the courtyard. Someone says, we never asked them to keep their umbrellas out in our private capital letters courtyard. They are too lazy to bring them in. Lisa says it's our private Courtyard, capital letters, again, is not a restaurant, it is for our private use only since 1929. There's never been a restaurant invading our private pretty courtyard. Now it's a circus fair. All right, so these are not questions in the question and answer section.
Excuse me, we just signed back in. Can you hear Jonathan?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hello.
But why don't you, sorry, I'll call on you again. We'll hear from some other tenants and we're in the middle of question and answer. You know, a lot of these are the same sentiments from tenants. It's like the same 3 people who are going to speak to. So I'm going to ask, actually, I'll put a timer on because I think that this might go on for longer than it needs to. So I'll give Janet the floor, or I guess Jeanine, you're unmuted. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to, you know, say what you want to say and ask any questions. Starting now.
You
have the floor.
Speak first?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No, sorry, you're first.
Oh, hi. Listen, bottom line is Seafire is an amazing restaurant. Alex is an amazing manager. We have been in the building 30, 50, 60 years. Our leases say it's a private, sustainable, beautiful courtyard for tenants only. It was built in 1929. Families came from Italy to build this. It was, and still is, gorgeous. Now it's a food fair. It was never meant for a restaurant to be in that space. It's our private space. And when people come into that space, they can wander all around. We have no security. There's no security with COVID. There's no security. I love Seafire. I go there all the time. And Alex is phenomenal. I think he's been put in a bad position because these new owners told him in his lease he could be in the courtyard. But read our leases, and we are protected by the state of New York and by all of our leases. No, it's our private courtyard. And, you know, we love Seafire Grill, but it's not a restaurant space. This is a space for people to be community. Janet's mom is 96. There's many ladies and men in the building. They use that for walking, for exercise, for fresh air. We have a garden. And it's all been destroyed with a food fair. And it's no disrespect to Seafire because they're a phenomenal restaurant group, but they should not be in our private courtyard. We have no security, and now we have no space, which is in our lease. This is a legal lease. I've been there 31 years. Now we can't sit down and do anything. And yes, we're allowed to bring our own food and drink. That's in our lease. It's our safe space. So, you know, somehow we all have to sit down and figure this out, but it's our courtyard. It's not a food fair. This is not the
Okay, thank you. The alarm just went off. It wasn't that loud. Thank you. I will add that the office did some background research and you know, what the tenant just said is true. The Department of Buildings clarified that the certificate of occupancy says that the courtyard at the Buchanan is not listed for restaurant use officially either. So
yes, our office talked about that with the Department of Buildings earlier today.
So that is certainly a good point, in addition to other things that have been brought up earlier. I see some committee hands, but I'm going to hand it over to Janet first, and then put the 2-minute timer on for her, and then we'll bring it back to committee. Janet, can you unmute yourself, please? Ooh, this is not a good tech day for us. Janet, can you press unmute?
DOP may not come on.
I will ask.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm speaking to.
Okay, your 2 minutes starts now.
Okay, going back to 2021, they said that they had not been using the courtyard. We have documentation. In 2021, they started using the courtyard in May. The tenant opposition was so great. I think that that was what actually led them to stop serving in the courtyard last summer. We got no notification from the management until they decided to, it was really a fait accompli that they decided to open the courtyard to the restaurant. Even in the current website for the Buchanan, it shows that this is a courtyard for tenant use only. It's a private courtyard, I have problems. I've met people going into the entrances. I met two ladies who wanted to know if it was a co-op or a rental. They were dining at a table there. I saw those men that were in the courtyard. I took that photograph. They do not live in the building. They were with a UN group that was dining there. And during the UN General Assembly, they had 4 tables of 7 people set up. I want you to know that any noise in the courtyard carries up to the residences. I live on the 9th floor. I have a bedroom that faces the courtyard, and I can actually hear conversations. So when they're dining late, or if they're large groups, there's a noise factor to be considered. That hasn't been mentioned. But I think that what needs to be spoken to is the fact that residents really do not want the restaurant there. We have a vermin problem in the building. They've left dirt there. We have a dirty stain in the courtyard from them. They don't put the furniture for the tenants back when they vacate the space. They operate Monday through Saturday. The Thursdays was a temporary to accommodate a tenant group activity. We lost a Tuesday activity to them. We used to have exercise in the courtyard on Tuesday. So a lot has been done by the new owners to bend over backwards. They put them in the lease. They said they could use it, but they didn't think about how it would affect the tenants. And that's pretty much what I have to say.
Okay, good timing. Thank you for sharing. John?
Yeah, I'll try to be well under 2 minutes. It sounds to me like the issue here is between, the tenants of the building, and I agree with Kevin that, we shouldn't be, disrespecting people because they rent and don't own. But it sounds to me like there is an issue here with the new owners that has to be resolved. And I sort of believe in the old saying, follow the money. There's something going on here that nothing illegal, of course, but someone is benefiting from being able to do this. That just makes sense to me. And that it has to be resolved because if it's less than 5% of the business of the restaurant, then it sounds almost moot at that point. So I'm still confused as to what's really going on here, but it clearly we have to look at the whatever is happening with the new owners in relation to the restaurant. Thank you.
Great. Susan?
To me, the issue, it should not be between the tenants and the owners of the restaurant, but the tenants and Buchanan management, because it seems to me that Buchanan management allowed something that should not have been allowed. If that courtyard is not zoned for commercial use, then they had no business allowing the restaurant to use it that way. And I think that the tenants really ought to go to Buchanan management or, go to the zoning city planning commissioner, Department of Buildings or something, because this is not a legal use of the space. Thank you.
Thank you. Anton?
Just a quick question. Is a Seafire Grill paying Buchanan management for the use of the space?
Can you repeat the question? Please repeat the question.
Is the Seafire Grill paying for the use of the space?
We're paying a lease for the restaurant.
No, I'm talking about the space itself, not the restaurant.
Yeah.
That's a question that has to be addressed to the landlord and the owners of the restaurant. That's not for my knowledge. I don't know the lease. price, and I don't know what's included on the lease. That's
Are you
not part
talk-
of my operation.
Are you talking for the Seafire Grill?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So you don't know what
Alex
the lease
talking.
says?
I don't know what the lease says because that's between the landlord and the owners of the restaurant.
Are the owners, is a lawyer for the owners of the restaurant available to answer this question?
Yeah. We don't even have the answer. Would Alban know? No, you know, well, we could get you that answer. Definitely, we will. You know, we can follow up and get additional information on that.
Thank you.
Paige?
I'm going to ask the lawyers
Hold
to go
on,
back.
hold on. We may even get you an answer in a minute or two. Hold on.
Okay, I'm asking.
I'm sitting right in the courtyard. It's very pleasant. It's probably in the 60s, and it's very quiet here.
Okay, Paige has a question.
Okay, to begin with, I'd like to know whether the Seafire Grill has anything in writing that tells them from the building, the Buchanan, that they are entitled to use that space. And I think the association, the tenant association, should also be checking things like this. It's, you know, who gave them permission if it was not supposed to be? And they must, I would be very surprised, the restaurant being of such status, that it wouldn't have something in writing saying that they are allowed to use the space.
But
Then
they
the
do
tenants
have
should go- They do?
They do, to my knowledge, have authorization from the landlord, meaning the
Then
owner of the building.
Then I think the tenants should go back to the landlord. I think that's where the problem is really the core of it.
Yeah. Hi, I'm here with one of the owners who just came in, Shaban Sinanesh.
Yeah. How you doing? How are you?
There is anything in writing that authorizes you to use the outdoor space.
Yes, we have a license here.
And if you are paying it, are you paying?
Include with the rent.
Yeah. This apparently this outdoor space includes the lease rent paid by the Seafire Grill.
Yeah.
We're here. I'm here with
And they
Shaban.
have, and they have something in writing from the
Yes, we have.
landlord
Yes, we have.
saying that you're able to. But that's not from the Department of Buildings, it's just from the landlord saying that.
We can really send it to you if you need it.
That would be great.
I'm sorry, I mean, we're gonna.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I gave it to
So-
you, remember?
I
have a
agree
license in my
with-
name.
okay, I agree with what has been said recently. This
Yeah, right there.
seems like something that doesn't completely pertain to our committee, and it's an issue between the tenants association and the landlord.
Excuse me, I'm looking at the license agreement between 160 East 48th Street owner, Roman numeral 2 LLC, and our client, the restaurant LLC.
And it says that outdoor dining is allowed in the courtyard?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
They would not be operating
Oh,
here
no,
without
no.
this.
The authorization, we don't operate it.
Yeah, it's kind of a moot issue now, you know, with the winter upon us. I think what I would recommend is that we can clarify whatever answers to whatever questions you may have. And the Tenants Association is free to communicate with our clients.
Jonathan Cooperstein?
James.
Hold on one second. There's a few committee questions, but you're here today because of your liquor license application, and so that will go past the winter. So whatever we decide here, it's not just a temporary thing. It's longer than just the winter season. Susan?
I was just wondering whether the liquor license could could the grill be excluded, the courtyard be excluded from the liquor license? Could that be a stipulation that the liquor license is only for the indoor restaurant?
Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't do that. It's already been approved by the liquor authority from, late last year.
Right, but you
Really,
actually
the
don't.
operation.
You only have it
Well,
from
we
the
could-
landlord. It's not from the agency, the Department of Buildings. So I'm inclined
Over a private
to,
space.
what? What was that?
What we can, we could give you a stipulation, depending on, what you would suggest to better operate this outdoor courtyard for all tenants and the restaurant concerned. Shouldn't be that big of a deal.
This is
We give it.
Jonathan Cooper. May I clarify some points?
Jonathan, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we
have our
want-
committee continue to discuss
But this
this.
has been approved
Not
for over
successful.
almost a year.
Right, so it was approved by
And they have
an
a lot,
authority
I mean,
that doesn't
with the
have
owner.
the ability to approve.
So I suggested before, the real benefit of this outdoor location is as an amenity. It's only 6 tables, and it's limited hours of operation, and it's seasonal, so there will be no operation of the outdoors from, say, like November through March, maybe
Yes,
into
we
April.
understand.
It-
We
It's all
understand.
dependent on the weather.
Anton?
I
You
think
know, we wanna
the
be
bottom line
cooperative.
here is this is a non-conforming use of the space according to the Department of Buildings. It shouldn't even be there, period.
Paige?
No offense, Antoine, but this is a business that was under the assumption. And also, I don't know why their lawyers did not look into the certificate of occupancy to see if this was, but this is something that I think the resolution, if we do make a resolution, should state that only if this matter is cleared up with the Department of Building. I don't think we should give a negative resolution because of the fact that this had occurred. They were operating. Why didn't someone notice this before?
Brendan, when you spoke with DOB earlier today, could you add a little bit more context, or like, did they suggest that we write a resolution of not support, or was there?
So just to clarify, the Department of Buildings, like I did not ask them to offer a position on the larger liquor license. That just, in large part because that seems out of their jurisdiction. Because they deal a lot more with like building structure and building use and like that sort of stuff. In terms of the whole certificate of occupancy discussion, when I talked with the Department of Buildings earlier today, they can issue certificates of occupancy that allow for restaurant use in certain spaces and in certain places. And what the Department of Buildings told us at the community board, and Alice can confirm this because she was on the same call, the Department of Buildings said that the Buchanan's courtyard does not have a certificate of occupancy that allows for restaurant usage. So that was what DOB told our office earlier today. I hope that answers your question. If you have any follow-up questions, I'll answer them as best as I can. If there are any questions that I don't have good answers to, our office can follow up with DOB.
So do you know how easy it is for, like, it seems like the Buchanan is interested in having a restaurant in the courtyard. What's the process of the Buchanan applying for a change in their certificate of occupancy? And then, yeah, that's my first question.
That I do not know. I have to admit, especially since I'm not at DOB, I'm not super familiar with what sort of process a place, a building goes through to obtain the appropriate certificate of occupancy to allow for restaurant usage.
Thank you.
But I can certainly ask DOB.
Right. I guess it doesn't really matter because it isn't in place now and it should be. So they should go through.
Yeah, per the Department of Building. Yeah.
Okay, Jeannie or Susan, were you going to talk about that question directly?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say that if the courtyard is not zoned for commercial use and the Buchanan wants, let's say, a change of certificate on occupancy, they would have to get a waiver, a zoning waiver. They can't just, it's not just about a certificate of occupancy. So they'd have to go as a minimum to the Department of Buildings to get some kind of determination.
Thank you. Jeannie or Brenda, did you have something else?
No, I don't really have anything to add.
Jeannie?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Susan and John said. They don't have a certificate of occupancy. They were the restaurant owners, or the attorney here was saying that these are tenants. The tenants are saying they're not tenants. This is becoming more of a discussion of arbitration, and I think we should just stick with what the facts are. And that is that there is no certificate of occupancy, that it seems like in one of the comments, I believe I saw that, they got some kind of a break because of COVID, but it's clearly causing some disruption within the community. And that there are outsiders coming through the restaurant into a private space that has been that way for a long time. I don't think we should get into arbitration right now. I just think we just need to look at the facts.
Thank you, Jeannie. I agree, and I'm not trained in arbitration myself, so I think that is a good suggestion. So Jonathan, now that we can hear you again, you can have last.
There are 2 points that I wanted to clarify. One is when the restaurant was first operating in the courtyard during the month of May 2021, the Tenants Association wrote to the management company and wrote to the restaurant expressing our unhappiness about this. And the only response was that after a month or 6 weeks, they stopped using the courtyard for this purpose. They stopped serving customers in the courtyard. And the other one is that to ease the way for the restaurant's use of the courtyard, both in 2021 and this year, the management company issued a list of 18, I think, regulations for tenants' use of the courtyard, such as banning pets, all of which were, the significant ones were all out of nowhere. They were contrary to everything that had been permitted before. And the one this year forbade tenants to congregate in groups larger than 3 people. So the point of this was presumably to make it a more appealing environment for what the management company imagined the restaurant would like. So that did have an effect on the tenant's ability to use the courtyard, and it was not an effect for the good.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing. Are there any other questions, or, I think as Jeannie said, and as we've all kind of agreed, it seems by what has been said and faces on Zoom right now, that we do kind of want to stick to the facts and what we are here to do as a committee, which is talk about the liquor license as a whole. I think that we, you know, it's up to you all and someone who wants to make a motion, but we could, as we've heard, this establishment has been in the community for 10 years and operating professionally, you know, in the walls of the Seafire Grill. So we can add in our resolution, you know, that we, you know, are affirmative of the of serving liquor inside and not outside because of, you know, the positive history on the inside. But again, we would, this is obviously something that we wouldn't just write on the spot tonight, but kind of take all the details into account when writing a resolution, should anyone offer a motion to do so. Susan?
I offer a motion. I offer a motion of no objection with a stipulation that the restaurant cannot operate in the courtyard.
No.
But wait, unless and until we obtain what is considered appropriate documentation to cover it.
Yeah, and then I think at that point, and Alex and Brendan, correct me if I'm wrong, should the zoning happen to include restaurant use in the courtyard at a later date, are they able to come back to us with like an alteration of their application, or would they just have to wait until their next?
We would need to double check on that. I would think coming back with an alteration, but we would need to check on that and circle back.
Okay, because maybe we can also write the resolution in a way such that if the Department of Buildings categorization of the space changes, then yeah, that's tricky. But Kevin?
I'm happy seconding Susan's motion. I know that you're saying that you might want to put some more layers onto it, but I second Susan's motion.
Mm-hmm. Paige?
Yes.
Were you going to second that as well?
No, I'm not going to second Susan's motion.
It already has been seconded.
Oh, wait a second. I've been on here with my hand raised, and let me just say something. As I said before, I will not vote for this resolution if you're going to put any stipulation about the outdoor thing. I think it should say in the resolution that they have to get a certificate of occupancy, and how they go about it is not our position. We do not do that part of it. But if they get a corrected certificate of occupancy, we could say that they can use both outside and inside for liquor. But if not, it would only be inside. We should sort of say that and let them look into it.
I hear you, Paige, and I do think that that kind of is the sentiment here. But
the way you're wording it, I don't agree with.
Right. Okay, Jeannie?
I'm confused. Isn't that exactly what Susan had proposed in her
I
motion?
proposed it before.
I think it is a similar kind of.
Yeah, I just don't know the difference. I need to understand the difference between the two.
Susan, is what Paige is saying kind of similar to what you had proposed?
I think I proposed no objection, but no operation in the courtyard until DOB categorization of space changes.
I did not hear that before.
Right, that's fine. But now I think that we all are on the same page here and in agreement. with Susan perhaps, but that was seconded in that way, let's say. So I think we should have Alexandra call to question. Thank you, John. Alexandra, do you mind going through the role? I think we should vote on this.
Yeah,
out
I
loud.
can absolutely do that. So I'm going to go through the roll call. Committee members, please unmute yourselves and tell me how you vote on this resolution. Claire Brennan.
In favor.
Paige Judge.
Well, I'll be in favor if what I said before is in that resolution, since I don't see it,
Okay, Susan, can you repeat your, again, so this is what we're voting on right now, what Susan.
Motion of no objection, but with a stipulation that there be no operation of the restaurant in the courtyard until the Department of Buildings categorization of space changes.
Okay.
So you're in favor then, Paige?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so Paige is in favor. Anton Maliner.
I'm in favor.
Seema Shah.
In favor.
Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Jeannie D'Onofrio.
In favor.
John Keller.
In favor.
Kevin O'Keefe.
In favor.
And Jason Littman.
In favor.
So with that, the resolution passes with 9 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 not entitled.
Thank you, Alexandra, for doing that. And thank you for everyone on the committee for talking it out. I'm happy to take a stab at the resolution. Does anyone on the committee want to help and read it after I do and have an extra set of eyes on it? I'll send it to you, Anton, as the vice chair, but does anyone else?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it if you want.
Me too.
Okay. All right, John and Paige, I'll include you on the resolution thread. So thank you. And so to the representatives of the Seafire Grill, we have resolved to, as was stated before, we encourage you to reach out to the Department of Buildings, and I don't want to speak for the office, but if you all need help navigating that, Brendan, would you be able to help as much as you can with that?
Yep.
Okay, so maybe just share a contact there to change the COI and zoning requirements. Anton?
I think the larger issue is that the owners of the building are responsible for obtaining the correct CO certificate of occupancy.
Right.
Now, the restaurant can bring this up with the DOB, but the actual certificate, the actual rezoning, I think that's a building ownership issue.
Right. So, thank you. So maybe the Seafire Grill can talk to the owners and ask them to go through the process of that. I was just kind of sharing that. I think that the office could be a resource for that, perhaps. Paige, we also called to question on this.
No, but
So
one
let's
question.
keep it quick.
Are they
Mhm.
landmarked?
We called to question. I'm not really
No,
sure.
but are they landmarked?
I have no idea.
No.
Because that would make a whole difference,
No, they're not. But
Okay.
that's not really our issue here. So they will figure that out. And now we're just moving on with the agenda. And since it's pretty late, we had a robust discussion. Thank you again to everyone for contributing. And sorry that it kind of came up so quickly, all of this. But you know, a lot of our issues are time sensitive. I'm gonna waive my other report. Again, I just want to say that I'm always looking for more things to add to the agenda. So if you all have any ideas as we get back into the community board season, definitely open to things to talk about here. And I have a few ideas for upcoming months. But other than that, does anyone have any old or new business that they want to bring up? I don't see any hands up. I think that is good. Sorry, I'm losing my spot here. Is there any other motions? Maybe one to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn unless
Thanks,
there
John.
are problems.
Second that.
Okay, thank you, Anton, for seconding it. Seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 8:12. There are no objections to adjourning the meeting, right? Don't think so, but now that there are no objections, I will adjourn the meeting at 8:27 p.m. Thank you again, everyone.